So we need to come on May 11th?
Right, come on May 11th. Right? So not May 4th, please correct it. And also, your final project due on May 26th, Sunday, 6 p.m. and send an email to me, tongprofessor@gmail.com. It is about 15 minutes oral presentation, and you need to make out either on iMovie or Movie Maker whatsoever. Okay, so 15 minutes oral presentation, and you post it to any website, preferably YouTube, easier to use. You send the 15 minutes presentation to me. That is our final project. For today, we're gonna talk about business organization, but we need to finish our last topic, if you still remember. That is the salary employee, regular employee. Last session we finished at the independent contractor, so finish that. So if you hire independent contractor, assuming you are the employer, okay? When you hire independent contractor, you need to ask W-9 form, if you still remember. W-9 form, you request Social Security, the name, and also the mailing address from your independent contractor. If you pay out $600 per year per person, you are required to issue 1099 miscellaneous. So we talk about, at the last session, still remember that.
It's 500 or 600?
I don't remember exactly. It's 500 or 600. My impression is 600, but it could be 500. You can do the research, right? And if you hire the salary employee, you need to ask for W-4 form. When you hire the person, okay, W-4. This is W-4. Right, this is W-4. Wait for a while, okay? So let it just come on. Okay, this is W-4. And for every year, you need to ask your employee to file it. Okay, this is W-4. And the reason why to have W-4, anybody know reason why? What's the major reason? For W-9, usually if your independent contractor does not change the status, usually you can keep the same W-9. You don't need to update every year. And however, you need to update W-4 every year, no matter what. So what's the major difference between W-4 and W-9? Anybody know what's the major reason you need to request W-4 from your employee? Anybody know?
For payroll?
Yeah, for payroll and what?
Withholding?
Withholding, right? Withholding, right? The major difference between W-4 and W-9 is, remember, we don't do any tax withholding for 1099, right? We need to get a refresh, okay? the major difference between 1099 versus W2, we're gonna talk about W2. The major difference is payroll tax, and that's big burden for the for both parties eventually, right? Especially for employer, all right? So the reason why you need to ask your employee to update W4 every year is because doesn't matter, you know, if the status change or not. You need to keep W4 form. So this is the reason why you can see the year. You don't see the year on W9, right? However, on W4, you need to download the correct year in order to use it. So for example, for this year, you need to keep this 2013 W4 form in your HR file, all right? And the major reason for this is you ask your employee to declare, to claim how many people, okay, how many people for exemption, So here you can see personal allowance worksheet, okay, and this from A, B, C, D all the way to H. You calculate how many number there, then to determine how much tax withholding from the gross salary, all right? So how many people of you filed this? You don't remember that? You should file this. I believe your HR department gonna ask you to fill this out probably almost every, you know, the early of every year, all right? So this is the last station we left out. We did not talk about it. But anyway, my suggestion is if you're running a small business, okay, when I say small business, usually mean the gross sales under $1 million every year. You're running your small business, your personal business. If you know the gross revenue before, you know, before the expenses, before everything, the gross revenue is around 1 million, even up to 2 million. I consider it as a small business. I highly recommend you hire people as an independent contractor, if you're qualified. By the way, if you're qualified, okay, try to go around the payroll tax. We're gonna talk about that, okay? Because for today, we will compare five different business type. All right, we have sole proprietorship, corporation, partnership, limited liability, and the last one is non-profit. We're gonna talk about 5 different type business organization. So any questions so far? Yes, Diana?
Is that true if you withholding too much? Is you gonna get a penalty?
You withhold too much, you don't get a penalty. You get less, you get a penalty. Yes. If the employer withhold less than the required, I think you'll pay penalty. Yes.
10%.
Yes, you'll pay the penalty. So usually, I believe for most of employers, they are very conservative. They would rather withhold more because they're safer. There's no penalty. If they withhold more, you know, you get a refund. So this the reason why people are waiting for the check come in, right? Right? It's just end of the tax season, right? So if you just filed your tax last week, then you are the people being over withheld, then you are the people waiting for the refund, tax refund coming in, all right? However, I have a few clients, I don't believe it's gonna happen to you, okay? But I have a few clients, they owe student loan. Those people, they owe student loan. You know, right now the economy is still coming back, right? So for the new graduate from college or from any graduate school, they may incur the student loan during the years they spend, you know, at school, right? So if they default on the student loan, I heard about it. The percentage is very high. For those people, they default on the federal student loan, and the IRS can get levy on your tax refund check. They just take away. So don't be surprised, okay? So tell this news to your friend. if they owe student loan, number one, pay off, keep on time, keep on current, or making sure they don't have refund check. Okay, so IRS is very interesting, right? You do not owe the money to IRS. Eventually, you owe the money to another Department of Education or whatsoever. However, if the people owe money to any federal government branches, IRS can always transfer the money, the refund check, to the other federal government agency. So that's very interesting. Because a lot of my clients, they are in the financial difficulty, they are in the financial trouble. Usually, they are waiting for the refund check every year, this season. They rely on this, even though it's small check, couple $1,000, small check. But their living really relies on this small check refund. But, to be surprised, IRS just took away the refund and transfer to the other department. But anyway, any issue right here for this matter? For employer W2, and if you receive W2, okay. So for example, I assume most of you are the regular salary employee. I assume that's the majority, right? For tax benefit, that is the worst group of people, right? That is the worst group of people because each dollar appear on your W2, you cannot deduct it from your expenses. For example, compared to 1099, right? We'll talk about that. If you are 1099 recipient, you transfer the gross revenue on your 1099 to your Schedule C. We will touch that a little bit today. However, you see on Schedule C, you have a lot of items you can deduct from, but no such deduction for your W2. Alright, so another thing I still cannot figure out why. W2 is the only document you need to attach to it. You don't need to attach to 1099. Okay? If you are 1099 recipient, you do not attach 1099 with your 1040. But for some reason, I still cannot figure out. IRS require people to attach W2. I still cannot figure out the reason why. Okay, so a lot of difference between W2 compared to 1099. Okay, this is it. And so we finished the issue. Okay, let's get a little bit review from last midterm. Okay, so I know you are struggle. Eventually, I only expect you spend 5 minutes to give me the answer. I only expect only 5 minutes. What's the page? Let me see. If you have a book with you, that is on your book 542. Let's just spend a little bit, very short time to get a little bit review. 542. So in case in the future you have any opportunity to analyze any case study like this, and you use the similar format. So you have a book on the book 542. So still remember the scenario, right? Scenario is one lady went to a TGIF, right? And the fact is very simple, all right? So remember I say I recommend you use this format, right? We have a principle here. If principle happen, then we have the conclusion also, what? Right? If the principle happen, we have conclusion. So there are two principles, right? Anybody still remember? What are those two principles? The number one is principle. I'm talking about the principle. There are two principles here. Can you read your book? Look at your book. You need to find out what are those principles. What is the first one? Without principle, you cannot answer it, right? What are those principles? Foreign natural test, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? What's a foreign natural? What's that mean? Anybody can give me an idea? I believe you struggle there. I believe most of you struggle there. So what's foreign natural?
Foreign nature test.
So what does that mean?
It's
Supposed to come together.
So they talk about the product, right? If the product includes some foreign materials, if that's part of the natural, as a client, as a customer, as a user, right? You expect it already. So that's the first rule. Anybody, you have your understanding or your different opinion, right? So the first test is you need to make sure what kind of product it is, because everything is, I think overall speaking is, if the product is defect, if the product is defect, then the customer or the user, if got injured, can get the damage recovery. I think this is the basic rule, right? Even though different product, different rule, but this is very basic, right? If product defect which caused injury, then the customer can get damage recovery from the manufacturer or from the provider or from the reseller. I believe that's the basic rule. So probably I know most of you struggle with this terminology. What's the foreign natural? I think plain English is if the product include any foreign materials and which is expected or which is acknowledged by the user, then I believe the manufacturer or the provider has less liability. So far okay? So far okay? Everybody? So far okay? So we have this problem solved. I know, so because I only expect you spend only 5 minutes, not more than 10 minutes, you can finish. But I do believe if this is the first time you read foreign natural, you stuck there. So what is the second test?
It's a reasonable expectation.
Reasonable. So reasonable implementation. So if there is foreign materials included in the product, whether or not is reasonable for anybody to expect. So there are two tests. So test should be very straightforward. I would say I would like to see your analysis. Your argument is what fact here. Then your argument is whether or not this fact satisfy principle or not. If fact pattern satisfy principle here, then plaintiff will win the case. Am I right? So far so good? If your argument is one of the facts pattern does not satisfy, then defendant win the case. So far so good, right? So far so good, right? So I know the difficulty is I did not give you the freedom. I did not give you the choice. I assigned this to you already. So you may stuck there. So you see, I have a very argument for plaintiff, but so bad, I was assigned for the defendant. But the case, eventually the true case was in favor of the defendant. The TGIF won the case, right? So if you argue for the plaintiff, I will give you more credits. So let's talk about the facts pattern. The facts is so short, very, very short. Can everybody tell me what are very important factors in this short, simple facts? Claim is one, right? Because that is the product, right? The product is claim. But not only claim, what kind of claim? Fry. It's not boy. It's not boy, right? It's fry. And it's a strap. This is number one. Because why? Because they really, even though it's claim, but different claim, different foreign natural. If this is a strap, mean it been processed somehow, right? It been processed for certain level. It's not raw. It's not just from the ocean. Then you put in the pot, right? It's been somehow processed. So if the product's been processed, it will determine whether or not the bone is natural. So that's arguable, right? So when we talk about the fact, you need to argue about what kind of the product is. right? It's a fry, clan, strip. That really means it's been processed. So either way, either side you can argue. After being processed, whether or not the bone or shell still part of foreign natural, right? What else fact is important in this case? So what product is important? How about
Damage.
we talk about damage later. Damage is a result. I want to talk about something you can determine whether or not the injury is recoverable. What else? One thing most of you almost miss. One point. When we argue the fact whether or not satisfy principle, there is one very minor, very subtle. Usually people miss that. There's a
Shell expected.
no. Sure is always expected, but the product has been processed. Another factor
Manufacturer.
is not in the book, but hidden there.
Manufacturer.
Close, very close, very close, very close. Another factor.
Quality control.
Close enough, very close. The reason why I want to spend a few minutes here to give you the more like a hint. I give it a hint because that point was not here. But in the future, when you analyze any case, you need to read between the lines. There's one point you close enough, very close. Let me give you another 10 seconds. That is TGIF. That's a TGIF. When people spend money at the TGIF, it's different from people spend money on the curbside. If you went to Fisherman Wharf, you spend very little money, you purchase a crab and you just eat it on the street side, probably you do not expect the provider will do too much clean up or quality control. You mentioned that, right? But this is the TGIF. TGIF, we know it's not very high-end restaurant, but it's kind of a restaurant, right? So if people spend money at TGIF, probably they have different expectation.
Standard.
Yeah, the standard is different. The standard may be different. So we all know the case, too bad, the lady lost the case. Bad luck. However, I don't care about the result, okay? I want to see your analysis. So at least I can see there are two major factors. Okay, two major factors. One is the whether or not the fly clean strip is being processed, and whether or not after process the shell still be part of natural. That is the argument. So the other is what is a reasonable expectation. So if I spend money at this restaurant, I may have a different standard. See? All right. So that's the thing I want to see. But most of you probably you missed the location. That is the only thing you can link to the reasonable expectation. Otherwise, everybody say, well, as a user, as a customer, you should expect something there. But I think that's too easy. That's become no argument, right? Eventually, each case in front of the judge, there should be the argument. Okay. So anyway, any input? I think this is a very interesting case. It's short. I know, give you 30 minutes is too short. And the reason why you miss the TGIF, I think that's very obvious. If I were in your position, I will miss TGIF. Because it doesn't matter TGIF is a good, strong, or weak argument. You should touch that. You should point out. Okay. So anyway, I think this is a good opportunity for everybody to practice. Any comment?
And how can you argue for the TGIF? Like if they say
Just opposite. I think that the case is taught to TGIF already. If you are TGIF, the minimum is you copy from this case. The reason why you can ask TGIF is totally opposite. You say even though we process everything, but shell still part of the product, and also we provide this. We done our best already. Eventually, this is another case. If TGIF can prove the same product or the similar product is being similarly processed throughout the restaurant compared to the industry. So again, Stephen just mentioned that's the standard. If PGIF can prove this is the standard throughout industry, we don't need to do better. We just follow all the standard, which could be proved. So if TGIF can prove they have done everything, follow all the industry standard, and their liability is done. It's done. I believe that's the reason why they won the case. For the real case, it's not that simple. Usually the judgment come out like 30 pages, 50 pages, and this is only three paragraph. So yes, good questions. Each side you can have a very good argument. All right. But anyway, just good example. Yes, Stephen.
So what is that? Because it says the TGIF filed the motions
For summary.
judgment.
Right. That's very trick. Okay, let me just give you a little bit idea. What's the summary judgment? Because the case, 99% the lawsuit, 99% of lawsuit will not go to the final trial. When you watch the TV or movie, we always saw lawyer on each side, right? Argue in front of the jury, right? Or in front of the judge, right? That is called trial. This is called trial. This is what we saw in movie or in TV. But in reality, 99% of lawsuit does not go to trial. Either settle before the trial or summary of judgment. Summary of judgment usually filed by either way, could be either way. Okay, what's the summary trial? If the case is very, very straightforward and the evidence is being so clear, no argument, the fact here, the fact is very, very black and white. Number one, number two, number three, and both parties did not argue that. So there's not too much argument. Then either side can file the motion. Okay, petition the judge or the court say we don't need a trial because we don't need to waste money, waste time. Usually one trial takes about 2 years to get prepared because you need to investigate. You need to interview with witness. You need to do a lot of things. So in order to prepare a trial, usually it's 2 years, right? So in order to save money, to save time, each party can file the motion to petition to the judge, say, we don't waste time. Hey judge, this is all facts here and this is the evidence. And there's no case. There's no case. So please just rule in favor of us. That's called summary judgment. So in this case, I believe defendant TGIF filed the motion, just petition the judge, say, the fact pattern is so easy, so simple. And those two principles here, right? So share is part of foreign natural, and also every customer coming in to eat the fried canned strips, they should have reasonable expectation something may be left over in the food. So it is their liability to pay more attention to it. And for this case, judge took it. Judge agreed with defendant. So the case over. So the case never been trial. So again, 99% of the case will not go to the trial. Either settle or majority they settle eventually.
So when the book says the trial court granted without explanation means granted means
Just say approve defendant, and the plaintiff lost the case.
so you cannot appeal.
Oh, you can appeal, but I don't know whether or not this case appeal, because usually the case, they don't appeal, because again, very costly. Just finished it.
It says then, Ms. shall appeal.
Appeal? Okay, probably deny anyway. So, alright, so this is it. I
So
think,
appeal can be granted or denied, right?
yes. Usually, if the appeal sustained, then they really mean the appeal judge agree with the trial court, sustain or revoke. Revoke means go back to the trial. But anyway, any questions, any input so far? So let's finish out. Any questions? Oh, so for those people coming late, sorry about that. So Yan Shi, you coming late. So Yan Shi is here, right?
Yes.
Any other people coming late? Mariana, I saw you. Okay, so Mariana. Any people coming late? Johnny, right? Jiang. Su Jiang. Yeah, Stephen. 另外有那个
先是台。
Thai, okay. Dyson, right?
Yes.
Dyson. Okay, so let's finish. Let's start our topic for the day. Right. So we will talk about 5 different business organization, and for business owner, eventually before you run a business, you need to choose. You need to decide which organization is the best for your business. We're gonna talk about sole proprietorship. This is the majority, I believe. Alright. Then we'll talk about corporation. And there are 2 types of corporation: S corporation versus CO corporation. And we'll talk about partnership. Eventually, LLC is one type of partnership. Okay, we have a partnership here. 3 different types: general, limited partnership, limited liability partnership. We have a non-profit organization. All right. So we can have a limited liability company is the other one. We'll talk about that why. Basically, limited liability company was one type of partnership before, but right now, tax law changed that a little bit. All right. So we will cover for each different type, and we will talk about the good and bad, pro and con. We'll see which type is the best one for you, for your business. All right. By the way, for your final project, there is one easy topic for you. That is, you pick out the business type and which is the best suitable for your business. If you are running your business, you can write or prepare your last final project and 15 minutes or oral presentation. So I think this topic should be easy. You don't need to do too much legal research, and you just pick out either one of these choice, and you tell me the reason why you pick this organization, and you analyze good and bad, pro and con, and finally you talk about taxation. Okay, I'll talk about taxation a little bit. For each type, you have the different taxation consequence. So I think it is very easy to make out your 15 minutes oral presentation. All right. So this is another hint for you. Okay. Tell me, what's the major benefit if you choose sole proprietorship? What's the major benefit?
Simple.
Simple. Oh, by the way, how many people could be there? How many owners could be there? What's the maximum people? What is the maximum owner could be there? So only one. Sorry, only one. All right. So you can only have one owner in this partnership. Okay, only one people. Okay, this good or bad? I don't know. All right, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. So the first benefit for this is simple and less costly. easy to make a decision, and no formality. You don't have to do anything. Okay. So anyone sitting here, you have this type business running under you right now? Okay. When I say no formality is not 100% true, okay? You don't have to file. You don't have to file the paper with the state government. However, it's not required, but usually we recommend you file fictitious business name or business fictitious name. Everybody heard about that? Fictitious name. We'll talk about this. If I spell wrong, you know me? Fictitious, right? Am I right? I'm not quite sure. If I spelled it wrong, correct me, okay? It is not required, but it's highly recommended to do it. Why? Anybody know? It's not required by law, but highly recommend to file this business fictitious name. Any reason why? What's the purpose? What's the purpose to file? Anybody know? Anybody filed this before? Even only one? Only one person? Okay, if you never filed this, you may. I bet. Because this is a majority for the business organization. So any one of you, if you want to run a small business and running only by you, one person, and small capital and small revenue, you don't want to incur too much operating cost, all right? So that is the reason why this is so popular for the one person business. Let me see, Christina is here. Okay, the reason why business owner will consider to file this business fictitious name, the major reason is for your booking. Is for your booking, right? Because this is your personal business and you want to separate your revenue from this business, okay, from any other revenue. Say for example, one person, you have your regular salary, W-2 income, and you keep your business on the side. So for this kind of situation, I think most of you will use sole proprietorship. You don't set up a corporation yet because you don't know how good or how long your side job can keep. So you just keep as totally informal. However, still recommend you to file business fictitious name with the county, okay, with the county. But which county? Okay, in California, it is lawful to run your business at your home, as long as there is no traffic. Understand? If you are running consultant business, if you are running, like Maria is running like a, party arranger, right? You're running your any other business, as long as there's no traffic coming in, or very, very light traffic coming in. You only have one appointment, two appointments every day. That kind of thing, 100% okay. You can run your own business at your residence. Alright, that's 100%. So to start out your sole proprietorship business, usually people start from their home or apartment or whatsoever. And then you go to the county which your residence located. You just go to, say for example, you're living in Santa Clara County, you just go to Santa Clara County building, you are Haiti, 70 West Haiti. You just go there to file fictitious name. And the rule is you don't pick out the name 100% exactly same as the other one. Understand? There's only one rule. You just pick out, say, ABC financial company, but a lot of ABC financial company. So you just pick out the name. As long as it is not 100% exactly as same as the others, you're okay. Eventually, county does not enforce this rule very, very firmly. They don't enforce this very firmly. So even you pick out the name somehow similar or almost exactly same as the other one, as long as the other party they don't file a complaint, you're okay. You're okay. So number one rule is you pick out the name, preferably unique. You create the name, okay? Number two, you file this, then you need to publish in the newspaper. And so when you file this, you ask the county clerk, say, can you provide me the authorized newspaper? Not every newspaper, okay? Only the list, the name on the list authorized by county, and you just ask. And each newspaper, you only need to publish in one newspaper, all right? And each newspaper charge different fee, okay? They will publish 3 times, and after they the publication, the newspaper will file the proof with the county for you. Usually the fee is around, oh, by the way, filing fee with the county is about $40. Each county different charge. $40 good for 5 years. So it's very, very least expenses. Only $40 for 5 years. So every 5 years you just renew it. Pay another $40. You can keep the name almost forever. So at $40 pay to the county, then usually you have probably another $50 because different newspapers charge differently. So about another $50 for publication. One time. This is one-time fee. Alright? If you renew your fictitious name within 5 years, don't wait 5 years expire. You renew it, you just pay another $40 to the county. You don't have to publication again. You saved your money on the newspaper. However, if you have your fictitious name expire, then you need to refile and publication again. Understood? So if you want to keep your business ongoing, and better off keep the 5 years renew on time. On time means before expiration. When you have complete this procedure, you receive the certificate from county with the stamp, and you can use this form, go to any bank to open out your business checking account. That's very important because you want to separate your revenue and your expenses related to this business from your personal revenue and personal expenses. We'll talk about that very soon. All right. So to start out your business with sole proprietorship is very easy. Very easy. You can start out your business in 1 day and with very, very little expense. All right. But what's the problem with this type of operation? Pro and con. What's the problem?
100% liability, personal.
Yeah, it's a 100% personal liability. So if any lawsuit, just like the product liability, any lawsuit initiated is against your personal. So if against your personal, that means we talk about debtor issue, right? Remember a few weeks ago, we talked about debtor issue, right? In order to reduce your liability as a debtor, you need to make sure you don't have 3 things. You don't have 3 things. If you don't have the following 3 things, you are the king of the world. Okay? You don't maintain your personal checking account, or if you have a checking account, you maintain very, very low balance, say $100. Can you do it? I don't know. You don't have any real estate property under your name. That's number 2. And number 3, you don't have any salary income. So if you don't have such three things, you are the king of the world, because nobody can sue you. Even they sue you, I don't see any way you can pay back. All right, because if you still remember the message from debitor issue in the United States, it is two separate issues. Number one, whether or not these people owe money to somebody else. Yes or no? If no, you're okay. Even yes, number two, debitor is not necessarily obligated to pay. That is moral issue, by the way, okay? Supposedly we owe money, we pay. But legally speaking, the law still protect the debtor. So even this person legally owe money as a debtor to somebody else, but not necessarily debtor must pay back. There are a lot of law protect debtor. So if you're running as a sole proprietorship, you better off belong to the person does not keep your personal checking account, does not have your salary income, and you does not own any real estate property. You have nothing, you are safe. For this kind of people, you don't have to set up your corporation, because your corporation by yourself, all right? Because corporation by yourself is limited your liability, right? But once you don't have anything, I just mentioned above, you don't have to, because you don't have any assets could be levied against to you. So if you belong to this kind of person, you are 100% okay to do business as a sole proprietorship. If not, then we will talk about the other mechanism, all right? So let's take a look of sole proprietorship. Here it is. Let's see. So as a sole proprietorship, we know you run your business as your personal business. So everything you report is on your 1040. So I believe all of you finish your tax, right? Or extension? Everybody extension? 6 months extension? Yeah, this is very normal, I say probably more than 50% you have extension. But extension, upon the middle of October, you still say, I'm still very busy. Right? Even though you got 6 months extension, always you cannot finish it. I have a client, they have not finished 2010 yet. I say, you're so busy? 2010, this is 3 years ago, I have not finished yet. Alright, this is a 1040 schedule. This computer is so slow, sorry about it. Okay, this is schedule C. Very interesting, okay, very interesting. Any one of you report schedule C? Very few people, minority. They said, I would say this is the best one. The best one. But however, if you file schedule C, it may trigger the auditing. Yeah, the audit from IRS. Because let me give you the number, okay? For the regular people, if you were W2 people, okay, the percentage, the chances, okay, the possibility for IRS coming in to audit your tax return, less than 0.5%. Less than 0.5%. I don't believe you are so lucky, okay? That's less than 0.5%. This is 5 people out of 1,000 people. So if you are straight W2, no any other, very, very little chance, because those people, as I said, is the worst group of people in the whole world. Because they can avoid it, they can run away. Each dollar they earn on the paper, on the W2 already, and there's no deduction, right? So they are the best customer of IRS, because you pay already. So you pay your fee already, so IRS say, don't bother, I let you go. However, the percentage for people filed Schedule C is almost 1.5 or 2% chance. 1.5, you see, it's very high, very high. So don't abuse it, because last month I have a client, I just went over with this client to IRS, downtown San Jose, okay? Don't go there. Market Street. The line is so long, okay? We sitting there for 3 hours, and when the IRS audit people Schedule C, they don't just look at Schedule C, they look at everything. They ask these people, say,